I want to win that game. No more belligerence from Todd. So, hey, check it out. We're going to have a special pause where Judy Alexander and others are going to create what I'm about, and what we're about was housing for people. Not just homeless people, but families, small dwellings like 600 square feet with a kitchen and a bathroom, so we can live our lives and have service people have a place to live that they can afford. And it's my whole life. This is a fundraiser for my cancer, and it's also a fundraiser for the Housing Solutions Network, right? HSN? Housing Solutions Network of Jefferson County. Hey, Judy. There's Judy right there. And it's my whole life. I'm a retired general contractor. I've done a lot of other things also. I'm going to cry. I can't help it. So, I'm so glad that I ended up here where we can care about each other as a society, so to speak. And I can use my skills, and have used my skills as a contractor, to create these villages so far, but to change the dynamic, to change the dialogue. Like, I fell in love with Joe Biden the other day, watching him on Jimmy Kimmel. He said, trickle down has been a lie from the very beginning. And if it's not bottom up and middle out, our economy and our society won't make it, because that's what is the fabric. The middle class is what gave us our life during the 50s. And I grew up in the 50s, and my family is all here. My sisters, my brothers, everybody. Look, I cried all night last night because my other daughter, Janice, and her family live in LA. It's been 5 years since I've seen my grandchildren. And I was sitting here, I swear to God, I was sitting there and my daughter's face appeared in front of me. And it was a mirage, because Tyler tricked me. Tyler's slick. Tyler is slick. So Lori Dent and a bunch of, look at my friends, look at my family, Steve and Lori. Yeah. There's Ginger, my mom's best friend right there. Because she's here, my mom is here. We just had a great talk. I love my life right now so much I can't even tell you. Bottom line is, I'm saying something. What was I talking about?
Your daughter. Yeah.
Who? Oh, Janice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Janice. Just happened to show up. I saw her face, and for the rest of my life, it was like a mirage. I mean, literally, Tyler pulled it. You say, well, I'm going to do a surprise? That was a surprise. And all of a sudden, there was my daughter's face, and I've been crying ever since. All night. I didn't sleep last night. 2 hours. But it was like incredible. You'll meet her. She's going to sing backup with Steve. Right over where that guy and his band. My daughters, I'm going to talk Tyler. You got to talk Tyler into coming up here and singing, okay? Because she's bad.
How about Lori and Carol?
Yeah.
How about them?
Huh?
Lori and Carol. How about them? Band for Lori and Carol.
Lori and Carol. Carol! Oh my God! How about Michelle Flowers? She's a superstar. She makes me cry every time. What's my vote when Coat of Many Colors?
Coat of Many Colors. You never make
I
it
won
through.
one.
Have you made it through once?
Out about once, without
even
crying.
know.
One
Okay.
time I made it all the way through. Right? Anyway, where was I? I forget.
Get everybody up here
Oh
to
yeah,
sing.
Janice. So my family, my God, I look, I'll never forget it. How can I? I cried all night because I saw that beaming, beautiful face. And my grandchildren are actually in my life. For 5 years, I held my granddaughter when she was born, and I hadn't seen her since. They're living in LA. And they were here all of a sudden. My life is good. I'm done. I'm good. And yet, we had to have fun today. Janice is going to sing backup with this dude right here. We're going to do the change, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Some R&B thing. And where are they? Where's my daughter? They ain't here yet. Well, you'll love them. I guarantee you.
Tyler's here somewhere.
Huh?
Lori.
Oh, listen.
As a matter of fact, and this is a very important moment. because Lori, this is Providence. This is called Providence. And I'm going to quiet and let her talk. I'm tired of talking. I got to rest.
Take a break. Take a break.
Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. And you are at Providence. You are under the protection of the divine and the spiritual power of nature. And if you didn't slow down enough to read the sign at the end of the driveway, I highly recommend that you do so because it was created by an incredible artist, and you have to slow down and get up next to it to see the detail, and it's worth taking your time to do that. The second thing you're within is the creation of the angels. And if the angels will please just come right to this pole for a second. Susie Cantor, make your way, my darling.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is two more of us, and they're not on the property right now, but the creation is all people in and around Todd's cancer journey shall be healed, shall be blessed and healed. And probably everybody's had this thought already, but you have to be some kind of person to step into that and create that. And particularly, and not like it's a good thing, but particularly when they're not a family member. So this is part of what Todd was talking about community and who we could be for one another. So there's that. So these are the angels.
Hold on. Now, let me interrupt you for 1 moment.
Sure. Go ahead.
So, I don't want to say a lot except these are angels, and you can read the GoFundMe about what was created, that when I was in need, it's said more better by them, but it said they gathered together immediately, and the term immediately is important, and I'm going to go and let her keep talking.
Okay. So not officially on the Angels team and not somebody who's going to enjoy what's going to happen right now is Steve Dent. And, you know, I don't know what you think when you think what it took to do this, but because I want you to get what it took to do this. At the worst, Todd couldn't even get to the porta potty. And, you know, he's shitting on the floor. And he couldn't get to the shower. And, you know, the waste was toxic from the chemotherapy. And that's the guy that took care of that. And that's the guy that firemen carried him to the shower. That's service. That's community. Steve Dent. Okay, so as Todd said, this is a fundraiser. I have a lot of skills. Technology are not one of them. I could not get the little doohickey for if you scan it, you can easily donate, la la la. So if you want to donate something to Todd and the housing, you can do it off his phone and just ask for support to get that done. If you want to go to the GoFundMe site, you can go that way to get it done. There is a box on the food tables on the deck you can slip things into. So that's the fundraiser.
A little bit of the CD sales, $5 a CD, and they're $15 goes to the same.
Great, did y'all get that? And Carol also has created beautiful bubble wands, and the sale of those are also going to what we're raising money for. So last thing is where did Providence come from? And this has been a guiding, this has guided my life for over a decade. And this is the Scottish Himalayan Expedition, W.H. Murray. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy and the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never have otherwise occurred. A whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would come his way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Welcome to Providence.
What are you doing now?
Whatever you say, Todd.
Okay, hold on. What time is it? 1:30. No. Judy Alexander is good. Let me set this up. Greg Brotherton just got here. That's great. Sean, where's Sean?
Yeah.
Come on, Sean, please.
Hey, I'm trying to find that thing. Give me a couple minutes.
Oh, you got it, dude. So let me just set this up here. Judy and the community build team are working. We've made these villages for sheltering homeless people. We've successfully done 2. I'm working on the Mill Road project, which is a $2.5 million county project that Greg Brotherton is manifested for us because he's our commissioner. He's up for re-election. We're going to re-elect him. And because of his advocacy, this happened in a small community in the Pacific Northwest. And it's a proud moment for all of us that we get to vote for this dude. Okay? So here's the deal. Judy is my partner, right, Judy? If you could put up with me. They put up with me. They put up with me. But anyway, Debbie, there's Scott Rosekrantz. Anyway, is that our team here today? Okay, Debbie's extraordinary. Her husband, Dennis, where's Dennis? Oh, there he is. Dennis has been the videographer for all these projects. He does an extraordinary job. He's a bad dude, this guy. And so Judy is going to share about our event on June 30th, which is really important, and I'll let her talk. The point is, refer to her to find out what we're talking about, because we have this other big tent that we use to build these buildings at Scott's church. Scott Rosekrantz right here. He's a beautiful human being. He's my dear friend. He's a beautiful, he was in the Leader. What was that in the newspaper? Weren't you quoted in the newspaper? You got to see it. But anyway, so Judy is going to set us up to know about the June 30th tent meeting, where a lot of, how many agencies are going to come together, Judy? 13. Only 13 this time. Hold on. Okay, fine. Please. Give me a minute. Okay, anyway. So Judy's going to set us up to celebrate Community Build, which is our organization. We are now a nonprofit, aren't we? We are. So, no, it's Stronger Towns? I'm getting it. I read my notes. So anyway, Judy's going to set us up for your participation in coming to this event where all of these agencies are coming together to share their advocacy, and it's an important event. Please come. And then Sean, where's Sean? There's Sean. So Sean wrote the most eloquent, off the cuff, so to speak, definition of homelessness that I've ever seen in my life. And he wrote it, and I'm going to ask him to read it. I don't have a copy of it. Does somebody have a copy of that?
Man, I'm hoping Judy might.
Do you have a copy? I've got it on my phone.
Okay, I can read it off there 'cause I can't find it online.
Well, then we're going to have to be patient because it's very important. That's why we're here, is to acknowledge the subtlety of it, you might say. And he did a great job of helping us understand that weird journey of homelessness that so much of us have. A lot of people have this thing called NIMBY, like I don't want it in my backyard, because they think they're different. We're different than each other. We're not. We have incredible hardship that tests us. And Sean is a beautiful human being, and he was the one who said, well, everybody gets knocked down. Are you going to get back up? That's the question, because we all have hardship. And some have a real hardship, and I've never had to do that myself. I've never been actually really homeless for a period of time. So anyway, I would like Sean to read what he wrote, and then I would like Scott Rosecrans to tell us the starfish story, and then I would like Greg Brotherton to do a campaign speech. That's what's happening. Now, can I be quiet, Lori? Stop. Good. So, Judy, and then here's the deal. Here's what we're testing. Can Judy read the kindness poem without crying? No. We'll find out. Judy, you're on.
Okay, so I'm Judy Alexander, and Todd asked me to come and speak a little bit, as he said, about the June 30th event. This is the poster for it. I will leave this here if anybody wants to take a picture of it with their phone. It's called Under the Tent, Housing Conversations with Our Community. And it's about Community Build, which is the group that Todd was referring to that was responsible for building the 2 emergency shelter villages, thought that it was time in the trajectory of our embracing of housing issues to bring all of our housing organizations together in order to increase their capacity to collaborate, to stratify what they're doing, to define which part of the housing spectrum they're working on, to inform the public not only of what they're doing, but how the public can help them get it done. So the purpose of this event is to educate the public in exactly how they can help our housing crisis be solved. And it's going to take collaboration. It's going to take working together. It's going to take knowing where your own particular gifts and talents can fit into the spectrum of what's needed in order for that to be accomplished. So how do you take 13 organizations and inform a group of people effectively about that? This is what we designed. And Debbie over there with Greg, Debbie and myself and our buddy Carla Main thought up this format. Every organization has 2 minutes. 2 minutes, tops. Your 2 minutes is up. It doesn't apply right now, Deb. To give the elevator speech of what they're doing. And believe me, there's a lot going on. So there's a lot to understand about how the housing crisis is moving and shaking in Jefferson County right now towards a better direction. So at the end of 2 minutes, and I don't think the organizations know this, although Greg's going to know because he's going to represent the county. At the end of the 2 minutes, the audience is going to see a sign that says applause. And they are going to say, your 2 minutes is up. And the person's going to leave the stage, and the next person's going to come on for 2 minutes. So the organizations that are represented, just so you know, the city, the county, Community Build, Community Boat Project, Bayside Housing and Services, OLICAP, Habitat for Humanity, Port Townsend Preservation Alliance, Jefferson Land Trust, Coast, the Interfaith Council, Peninsula Housing Authority, and honestly, I'm forgetting one. Olympic Housing Trust.
And did you say Housing Solutions Network?
Oh, and Housing Solutions Network. That's right. The Housing Solutions Network is the one that Todd's going to donate a portion of his proceeds to. And Housing Solutions Network has done a lot to educate our community about not only our housing crisis, but what can be done about it. So that was 2 years ago, Housing Solutions Network got put together, and now we are 2 years down the road with a lot of move-in actions going on, and you'll hear about them if you come. It's Thursday afternoon, June 30th, from 4 to 6 p.m. under the tent on San Juan Avenue and 22nd Avenue, where they come together, 22nd Street, where we built the shelter villages in the first place. So, and then that same day, earlier, from noon to 3, for any of you that have a need for tools or want to get involved in building projects, we're having a tools sale of donated new and used tools for people to buy the tools, and that money goes to support community build projects. So, or excuse me, community build, we call it now. So please come to the tool sale and or the thing from 4 to 6. We'd love to see you there. And then I didn't mention this, but at the end of the 2-minute elevator speeches, there's about 45 minutes or an hour's worth of networking with the organization you want more information about. So you'll be able to speak to the people who gave the 2-minute elevator speech, ask your questions, and get involved. So I hope you'll come. And this little flyer is promoting Community Build. Debbie in the blue over there has extra copies if you want to get involved as a volunteer with Community Build, and she's our volunteer coordinator, and she does an awesome job of that. So you get to sign up for whatever you want to do.
She does an awesome job.
She does.
I'm still trying to find Sean's.
I've got it.
You got it?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so I met Todd a little less than 2 years ago, and he was the outsider. He was from Seattle, you know, and he just fell in love with the community build effort and got involved with us really at the ground floor right away. And I think he actually got kind of smitten by the community spirit Port Townsend has, such that he now lives here.
Yes.
So we welcome him into our community with open arms and an open heart. And I just wanted to say that even though there's a little bit less of Todd's body the last time I saw him, from the last time I saw him, his heart is even bigger. I don't know how that works, but it works. That's Todd. Okay, here is the poem that I won't be able to read without crying. It's called Kindness.
Uh-oh, wait, you've already started.
I get touched by the concept of kindness. Before you know, this is by Naomi Shahib Nye, and it's on the web if you want to get a copy of it. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment, like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the threads of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it's only kindness that makes sense anymore. That's it. You're very welcome. Thanks for being here, you guys. And thank you, Todd. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. Can I get a hug? Thank you. Isn't she lovely?
Yes, she is.
So now, Sean, if you could please, it's small print. Do you have your glasses?
Something like that.
Okay, come on, please. Now, this, look, Sean, I can tell you a lot about it. He lives in one of the shelter villages, still lives there, I should say. And I met him and we had a conversation about his circumstances of a particular day. And how did you come around to write this, Sean? Remind me how this happened.
It was after you and our conversation.
Okay, so if you could read it, please.
Sure, you
Now, this is not Martin Luther King Jr., it's Sean. But act like you're hearing his voice.
That'll be obvious real soon.
No, but here's see if you can see this okay, Sean, would you?
Yeah, I'm sure I can.
You got to go here.
Gotcha. Let me see where I'm at here. What, is all of this?
No. Here, you look.
Well, yeah,
You're
yeah,
hold
yeah,
on. You're till right there. You go down
Okay.
there.
All right, I got you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, buddy. I met,
Go over here. In the mic, please.
it's all very complex now.
Yeah, I know.
I met Todd in the parking lot one day and asked him about
There's a lot to
himself.
that. There's a lot to be said about being taught in the parking lot.
He said he was a nice guy, so I decided to take him at his word. I'm starting to wonder now. There's a little more to it than that, but no, your 3 minutes are not here yet, man.
Come on, man, go ahead.
All right. Anyhow, we had a talk, and it really got my attention. And a little while after that, I tried to put down a few words about what I saw in Todd. Yeah, real briefly, I've been homeless for 3 years. Recently housed him. He's one of my benefactors. Okay, until you have none, it is probably not possible to adequately understand the value of community. Humans are designed for connection, belonging, cooperation, and love. When every aspect of your life is in constant flux, you start to become dysregulated, even a bit feral, a consequence of no privacy. When you make it up 5 minutes in advance, your life has no structure beyond what you impose on it. Every human encounter is with a stranger. And without the stability of place and community, your ability to integrate, to connect deeply, slips away as the memories of a home recede with time. Life without one just becomes your new normal. The mere logistics of life's demands, food, safety, money, shelter, hygiene, can be insurmountable. Once you've fallen far enough, just getting back to that first rung on the ladder can seem, and often is, unachievable. Purpose fades and hope just hurts. So, all of which is why Pat's Place is such a promising concept. To my way of thinking, it is designed to foster community, to help those who manage to transition back into society and housing by first transitioning back into community, to learn or dust off long disused skills and attitudes, and to re-civilize. It's a brilliant concept, and a very warm thank you to all of you, and I feel like I'd be here.
Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? Thank you, Sean. Thank you. I love you, dude. I really do.
I want to say one really embarrassing thing about you before I go. I've got 3, so I'm limiting it, so you just
I'm listening.
Don't hold back.
the one thing that is so hard to come by is the positivity we all struggle through our lives to build into our lives, and it's just crucial. It keeps you optimistic. It keeps you hope and direction and focus. And guts. And out there on the road, the thing that you find the worst when you lose everything, it's not the material shit. America's overflowing with stuff. It's the community that you're yanked out of, the family that's gone. And it's really hard to keep that stuff alive in you, that positivity, when that stuff's gone. And I remember the day I met Todd, after talking to him for a while, the entire rest of that day, I just coasted on that stuff because he got so goddamn much of it. It was like I just had a big cold drink of water in that Tennessee hot heat that I grew up in. And it filled me up, and I was like, man, I want some of that.
God bless you, brother.
This is the kind of person I want to know. So, thanks, brother.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
And you know what? This is the kind of guy I want to know.
Hot dog.
Seriously. We'll go play golf or something. You
Give
know?
me the hat, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So now, Scott, you're on. Hey, Sean, I love you and thank you. Is he brilliant or what? Is he brilliant? You can't say what he said better than he did. Except this guy here. Go ahead.
I met Todd in a parking lot one day.
Oh, really?
I did. Yeah. So I'm the pastor at Community United Methodist Church in Port Hadlock, and I'm just finishing up my 6th year. And I was at my desk one day thinking, we sit on a lot of property. We have the South 7 Senior Apartment Complex there. It's been there for like 20 some odd years, and I was anguishing over how we could use some more of that property for the crisis that we were facing in housing. And I get a phone call one Monday morning from some guy named Peter Bunyan. He says, hey, my name's Peter Bunyan, and we've built a bunch of tiny homes, but we don't have any place to put them, and we heard your church has a lot of property you're not using. I said, that's true. And I said, I'm game, I'm open to it. Tell me more, and he did. And I said, well, speaking for the church, I said, the Methodist Church is the least of your problems. I said, so whatever you can work out, that's fine with us. And they said, well, can we move our 40-foot by 40-foot tent onto your property across from your parking lot so we can start building tiny homes? I said, absolutely. So that was around October, almost 2 years ago, and that's when I met Todd in the parking lot. And my job as the pastor was to keep them supplied with plenty of hot coffee because it was cold and rainy. And I really enjoyed watching the progress. And I met a lot of nice people. I met Debbie, and I met Judy, and I met Todd, and so many people that just showed up to work and build these things. And it was 17 months ago when Peter's Place was dedicated. And it's been great to have these folks living in our backyard for 17 months, and we've not had a single problem with them whatsoever. In fact, I went and spoke before City Council about a week or so ago to encourage them to re-up the permit for Pat's Place because it's been a wonderful experience for us. What it's done for us is when it was christened 17 months ago, we were already running a clothes closet and food pantry out of our church. And some of my volunteers came to me and said, we need to open this up every week, every Saturday from 10 to 1. So for 17 weeks, we've been running our clothes closet and food pantry out of the church. And we've gotten to know the people at Peter's Place, and they've gotten to go ahead and know us. And we know them by name, they know us by name. Some of them have moved on, but they still come back to visit. And they come in a couple times a month to get whatever it is that they need. If we don't have it, we'll find it and we'll get it. So anyway, I was asked to go ahead and participate in the dedication of Peter's Place, and I told this little story, and apparently it really impacted Todd because every time I have a conversation with him, he brings it up. So here it is. And I stole it from somebody else. After a great storm one day, a man went walking on the beach with his dog to survey the damage that had been done, and debris was strewn everywhere, and there were logs washed up, and and it was just a mess. And he was walking down the beach, and off in the distance he could see a couple of adults, but he saw two small children running back and forth from the water, and then up onto the beach, and then down to the water, and then back up to the beach. And the closer he got, the more intrigued he became, and he could tell that they were running up the beach and they were picking something up and they were throwing it back into the water, and then they would run back up the beach and get something else and run down to the water and throw it. When he got closer, his curiosity got the best of him, and he stopped the little boy and the little girl, and he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, we're picking up starfish, and we're throwing them back in the water." And he said, "Yeah, but the storm was so great, the devastation was so much, you can't possibly be making a difference." And the little girl looked up at him and said, "Well, it made a difference to this one." And that's what we're doing here. That's what the Home Solutions Network, and that's what Todd and everybody that's here is doing. That you are picking up that starfish and you are making a difference in that one person's life. And you're putting them back, where they can thrive and where they can live and where they can reintegrate into society, like Sean just said. It really does make a difference. And like I say, it really resonated with Todd, and he's one of those kids that have been running up and down the beach throwing starfish back into the water. So that's what we do. Thank you. Thank you.
Scott's generosity and his church's generosity is extraordinarily beautiful, and it is a map for us. All of this is a map for us to see something important, obviously, and God bless us that we do. And something else comes to mind, and I'm not going to press Judy into service. Carol. What am I talking about? Where's Carol? Anyway. Oh, Carol. So I'm not going to make you come and say anything. I'm going to hopefully speak for you. She was the first resident of the village at Peter's place. She no longer stays there, but she was a part of the video that Dennis did about Peter's place. And at the end of it, and Carol just explained it to me yesterday, there's a voiceover of what Carol shared about her experience of being able to move in. And Debbie, didn't you read it? I did. So you can get Peter's Place video. Dennis right here made it. And it illuminated what we did. But at the very end, there's this voiceover of Carol's experience of what it meant to her. And I'll let you discover that for yourself. But it speaks so eloquently to the difference that we are making. And I love Carol so much. And Catherine, right next to her there, also lives in the same village. She's still there, and she was caretaking for her father, who also lived there, and now is in a care facility that she hopes will work out, right, Catherine? And so it's such a celebration of everything going on. And Greg Brotherton, I've gotten to know, and he was, in a way, orchestrated the clearing out of Jefferson Fairgrounds. And we got this demand, like by the end of the month, you've got to get out of here. So Kathy Morgan from OLICAP, I've got the text. I'm actually going to put it in my archive. Because we had done these other villages, all of our team, and she knew my abilities. So I got a text or a message from her, and it said in capitals, "Please, Todd, come over here and work with us to build this new village for, first of all, clean out the fairgrounds, give them a home, and then we'll build another village," which is what we've done. So we orchestrated seed construction. Where's Jeff? Is Jeff here? He was here earlier. Anyway, I got to work with these local contractors, the Seaton brothers, Bruce and Jeff, and we got after it. As soon as we got approval, we got after it, and in less than 2.5 weeks, we had taken raw land, leveled it, gravelled it, put power in there, and moved these people over. Right? Isn't that what happened? That's badass. And I was glad to be driving. In a way, but we were all driving. When you look at that movie, Greg, And all of the efforts that were made by that community to pull together, only capping all of you, it's extraordinary. And it's wonderful. And isn't it working?
It's working great. They just adopted that section of the Larry Scott Trail.
Well, really? Do they have water yet? Do they have showers yet?
We're working on that for phase 2. We'll get showers.
We'll talk.
They're putting the water in right now.
Yeah. And look, these people are living for months with no shower, no water. They're about to have a shower. And at the last meeting, I said, you get a little gamey after a couple of months. I think that's accurate. So I'm going to ask Greg to speak about his election, basically. He's up for re-election, and there's no person I could imagine that was more committed to this, what we're doing. And I have a request of Greg. Greg, I'm a registered voter in King County right now. Before your election, I want you to help me move my registration over to Jefferson County so I can vote for you. So could you have something to say other than me, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm really here for Todd today. Can we give it up again for Todd? It's just what a fantastic. And I also met Todd in a parking lot. I'm not sure. This is starting to say something about Todd, but I am Greg Brotherton, the District 3 County Commissioner. So I'm not sure if you're in District 3 right now and can vote for me in the primary, Todd, but we'll get you going by the general. We'll figure it out. I do hope to stay in this job. You know, I've worn a lot of hats, from teacher to tech, storekeeper to school board, filmmaker to farmer, and I really feel like I found my calling in this work, and I am looking for everyone's support to keep at it. I've tried to serve the people of Jefferson County, and that's all the people, and I don't think politicians often do that, but that's all the people in Jefferson County with action and compassion and teamwork. And I'll talk a little bit about the sector that we're talking about today that Todd's been so helpful with, and Debbie and Scott and Judy and so many others, and that's the housing, which, I mean, we were in a housing crisis in 2018 when I was running for my first term, and it's only gotten worse since then. And, you know, I've spent a lot of political capital on working with the neighborhood around the fairgrounds and with the residents at the fairgrounds when we had that unsanctioned encampment there, and moving that population with great success. And Todd is underselling the Sisyphean task it was to move 25 people from and taking care of all the garbage, and we had community members picking up garbage, and moving them from a place where you had over 100 anti-harassment orders and neighbors fearful and residents, you know, drug dealing happening, overdoses. It was a really bad scene. And in moving it, they're not done yet, and we're still working on phase 2, but the outcomes are so much better, and you have the people forming a community rather than kind of railing against the community around them, and that's really positive. And I worked a lot with the Community Build Project, and Scott. Actually, one of the early emails I got from Scott when I was first in office was kind of dressing the commissioners down for not doing enough about housing and, you know, putting it on other sectors. And I think the teamwork I really want to focus on is that three-legged stool of the community and faith-based organizations and the government. And I feel like we have done so much together. Without one another, we would not have made the progress on Peter's Place and Pat's Place and Coswell Brown Village and lots of other housing projects. Seventh Haven, the 43 units of affordable housing being built in the parking lot at QFC and Port Townsend, and Bayside's great work. And this is done together. Like, one of the first things I did was hearing about Peter's Place was starting to go to those meetings. And, you know, most of my job is just tedious meetings. You know, I serve on 20 boards and committees, and you go to these meetings and it seems like nothing happens, and then nothing happens, and then finally you get some traction, and that's where the real satisfaction in the job is. And I feel like we've achieved that in the housing matrix right now, and working with Scott and the church and all of these different agencies coming together, because it's not something that the county can take care of by themselves, right? We really have a mandate to take care of those at 60% and below of AMI. So working with partners to find how can we help all of the different rungs of housing that are so broken in Jefferson County is a really big goal, and I think something that we're working on together. So I guess I really want to say that
my strongest asset as a commissioner has just been the great teams that I've been able to work with, and I think a willingness to, step out of your ivory tower, get down and, pick up the garbage at the fairgrounds and work with the folks and meet the people that we're trying to help. I really appreciate everyone's support. I've got lots of swag here, so if you want a button or a magnet for your car or a sign, come talk to me. If there's other issues you want to talk about, we're making great progress on the Hadlock sewer, rural broadband, and that's another one of those teamwork issues where PUD is doing really pioneering stuff, offering retail broadband, and we've been there every step of the way in the county, and we're stronger when we're working together. So I feel like we've got goals in common that we can agree on, and I guess I'll ask for your support in continuing to work on those goals together as a team. So,
Yay, Greg!
thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Good luck. Let's elect this guy. Let's re-elect him. There's one other, thank you, Greg.
Yes.
And there's one other thing about the new sheriff. That is, I wanted him to be here, and that didn't happen. And I've got a brochure in where I'm staying, where Lori and Steve's family has graciously, beyond graciously, taken care of me. I feel like going and getting it. It's on my desk because Carol, what's his name? Art Frank. I wish hey Gary, could you please come and speak when I'm done for a moment? So Art Frank. I've had really important conversations with Carol about the policing in the county, and I'm not going to disparage anyone except to say that this new sheriff, when you read what his commitment is, it's like Greg's. He wants to service all levels of the community, right? Like you look into every crime, not just the ones that are broken into people's big homes. I'm trying to make a point. He seems like a very conscientious person, and I wanted him to speak here. I'm speaking for him. So pay attention, please, to him. Let's get him elected, literally, really. Because that's another breath of fresh air that would make an incredible difference in our community. That the policing matched the community, right? Right? Now I'm going to give it to Gary Keister, who is my extraordinary partner, and all of our partner from Bayside. And Gary was has been our fiscal sponsor, meaning that he allowed our building to take place because somebody had to manage that level of insurance and all that stuff, And so it's been a great partnership, Gary. And I would like to have him share about his opinion of all of that. Hi.
Greg made a great point in saying housing has to be a cooperative effort. We need the city, the county, the nonprofits, the religious groups all coming together to solve this extraordinary problem. We're in an emergency, and sometimes we don't treat it as such. There's a lot of issues that we have in our country, in our world today, and sometimes things that have great importance locally may kind of get set aside, and we just have to keep our eye on the ball and continue to fight for this cause that is just terribly important. Housing first has been something that a lot of people have. Bayside started in April of 2016, and recently we went over 50,000 bed nights that we've provided. And there's three things that we keep primarily in our focus, and that's food, shelter, and case management. And the last is just extremely important to further the guests' moving forward in their lives and following them after they leave Bayside, and to make sure that they have that supportive piece as they move forward. And we have great success stories. I think we have about 160 people who've left Bayside now and are living independently. They have jobs and they are tax-paying citizens. So it's a lot of thanks go out to the community and to all those that have been involved in making this happen. And we have more plans to. Someone asked me the other day, how far are you going to go in housing development? I said, till every person has a shelter. And that's exactly our motive, as long as we have the capability and the financial resources to move it forward. We recently, with a grant from the state, we purchased the Hadlock Motel, and that will give us about 40% additional inventory than what we have today. And in a year or two after that, we hope to make further improvements to it to increase those numbers almost 100% more. So that's tremendous in light of the few empty beds we have today. We have about 60 people on our wait list, and as soon as we turn a room, we've got somebody in there. So we want to thank Todd for all of his efforts and his stalwart attitude in making sure everything got done in a timely fashion. He's been remarkable. He's a remarkable man, and we want to wish him the best. And we want to thank everybody for all the assistance they've given Bayside over the years. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, community first, community build. The conversation is community. We're nothing if we're not community, duh. Like one person can do a certain amount, but a team can make miracles happen. And we've got a great team started here. And this is actually a shout out in a way, as I think about it, in a way to the country or the world, that I love Joe Biden, because I saw him on Jimmy Kimmel, and he said trickle down has been a lie from the very beginning. And if we don't have a community that's middle class, that comes from the bottom up and the middle out, we're going to lose. We are. The money goes to the top and everybody suffers underneath. Let's say no to that or say yes to something else, okay? Let's say yes to something else. Saying no doesn't do any good. Saying yes does. And that's why that quote from Lori is so important. When you commit and you say yes to something that's good, for real, like I'm in, all in, then the miracles happen and stuff pulls together. Here's one of the miracles. This tent, I was negotiating Malcolm Dorn. Here's what happened. I saw the weather might be shaky for this event. So I was there worried about it. And I called Malcolm at 10 at night. And I said, Malcolm, you have a big tent. We got it from you. You must know some tent people. He did. This guy, Rick, where's Larry? Anyway, this guy, yeah, Larry. Is it Rick? Who's the guy who's the tent guy? Danny. So, yeah, Danny. So Danny said in the morning, I'm too busy, I can't help you. Here's this number for this business in Puyallup. I called the business 5 times, desperately, like they said they could, but they blah, blah, blah. So I had said to Danny earlier in the day, I've got you in my back pocket, man. If I need you, I'm still going to call you. And if I got to pay double, I'm going to get that tent over here, this 40 by 40. And he called me at the end. I called him back at the end of the day. I said, it didn't work. Can you help me? So he basically ended up saying yes at the last minute. And then he got Larry to hook it up. So I'm over here being mischievous, and Lori and Carol barked at me, "Get out of here." So they moved me over there. So I'm over there watching this tent go up, like magic. And it and then they had this roller hammer, blam, 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 putting all those stakes in, right? And it was miraculous. I was looking like a circus is in town because we have a center pole and everything. And by the time it was over, here was this tent that gave us security to have this meeting successfully, period. Overnight it rained. I got gear, CJ over here, and Walter have all this expensive, really valuable gear. And I've said, I'm not going to let it get damaged. What do we do? So hey, this tent was the answer. Long story short, here it is. And I got up last night and came down here with Bruce, my cousin, to just be present to how wonderful it was, because it was extraordinary. In the middle of the night, you see these lights and this big tent, and we're so thankful that it allowed for us to relax and enjoy the day as we're in the middle of. And it's like that quote, Goethe thing. When you commit all the way, then you're in, and then things happen miraculously. So Larry comes and puts this thing up, and last night it rained. I got up this morning, and I looked down, and I said, and yet it was all protected. And then, here we are today in what I consider to be a sacred place, in a sacred condition, meaning I love this tent. I love the fact that we're all under it here. And it could storm like crazy, and it wouldn't matter right now. We could still be here doing what we're doing. And and then the thing is, we get to have fun. It's nice to have fun. I played the drums after 50 years. I finally learned how to do it. And I like it. I just took up dancing. You did? Bring it on, dude. We got acoustic. Acoustic comes tonight. Okay? That's why we set it up that way. Bring your djembe out. Bring your mandolin. The nurses from the hospital were supposed to be here today. I'm not going to make it wrong. I'm just saying I wish they were here because they dance. They like to dance, right? That's what I understood.
Hey, word has come down to me that it's time for some music. Todd will be back, I'm sure. So, but we're going to move on with some music. The musicians are...
See what they do?
The musicians are anxious.
They're finally trying to shut me up here.
That's right.
Anyway, I love you all.
Todd Armstrong, he'll be back. He will be back, I'm sure.